students, I am Nilanjana Sanyal. Welcome you all to my channel Learners Online Math Classes. Our today's topic is some restrictions of logarithms. This is part 2. In part 1 also we had obviously the same topic, some restrictions of logarithms. And in that session we have seen that the base of a logarithm cannot be a negative number, it cannot be equal to 0 or it cannot be equal to 1. So what is the other restriction that we have on logarithms? Let us see now in our today's session. Okay, so without any further delay, let us start with our today's session. The argument of a logarithm cannot be a negative number or equal to 0. And we will be seeing why can't we take the argument of a logarithm to be a negative number or to be equal to 0 in our today's session. And as I have said that we have already learned that the base of a logarithmic function or logarithm can only be a positive number which is not equal to 1. The base cannot be a negative number, it cannot be equal to 0 and it cannot be equal to 1. Okay? So coming to the first proof that the argument of a logarithm cannot be equal to 0. So let log 0 to the base 2 equal to y. I have taken 2, you can take any other base. The base will be a positive number not equal to 1. So again we convert this logarithmic equation to an exponential equation. This is b. The base is 2. 0 is the argument and y is the product or the result. It is of the form BAP, and to convert it to the exponential form we will be having BPA. The base remains the base, the product or result becomes the power and the argument becomes the answer. It is BPA. Okay, so it is 2 raised to the power of y is equal to 0. And this is an invalid equation. Why is it an invalid equation? Because what is 2 raised to the power of y? It is 2 multiplied with itself y number of times. Like if you have 2 raised to the power of 3, it is 2 multiplied with itself 3 times. 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 raised to the power of y is 2 multiplied with itself y number of times. Just as we have the multiplication as a substitute for repeated addition, we have index or exponents as a substitute for multiplying repeatedly. Means we have to multiply, but instead of writing 2 times 2 times 2, it needs some space, more space, it needs some more time. We write 2 to the power of 3. Okay, so it is just repeated multiplication, and no matter how many times you multiply 2 with itself, you will never be getting a product of 0. It is not only about 2. You take any positive number and you go on multiplying that number with itself any number of times, and you will never be getting a product of 0. So therefore you cannot have 0 as the argument of a logarithm. Okay, coming to the next part, that the argument cannot be a negative number. Okay, this I have already said, the product can never be equal to 0. So we come to the second part, that the argument cannot be a negative number. Over here I have taken let log of negative 3 to the base 5 equal to y. I have taken arbitrary numbers. You can take, instead of 5 you can take 20. You can take any other positive number, and in place of negative 3 you can take any other negative number. You can take negative 1 over 3 as well. Okay, so and again we will be changing this to its corresponding exponential form. It becomes 5 raised to the power of y equal to negative 3. And what is 5 raised to the power of y? It is 5 times 5 times 5. It just goes on. The 5 gets multiplied with itself y number of times. 5 is a positive number, so if you just go on multiplying 5 with itself, y number of times, doesn't matter what is the value of y. Regardless of the number of times you multiply 5 or any other positive number with itself, you will never get a negative number as the product. Doesn't matter what is the value of y, how many times you are multiplying 5 with itself, you will never be getting a negative product. So therefore, you cannot have a negative number as the argument of a logarithm. Okay, so these are the two restrictions for taking the argument of any logarithm. So we have learned about the restrictions for the base of a logarithm. It cannot be a negative number, it cannot be equal to 0, and it cannot be equal to 1. And for the argument part, the argument of a logarithm cannot be a negative number and it cannot be equal to 0. Okay. So students, this brings us to the end of this session. Please like, share and subscribe if you find this video helpful. Thank you for watching this video till the end. We meet again very soon. Till then, bye.